Yes. When you wake up and you feel like you need a little up, when you're down and out and you need to get a little higher. If you feel like you need a blessing and you feel a little high today, welcome to the church of Cali High. Cali High. Cali High. Yo!
This is Cali High, episode 37, and I'm your host, Chenzo Nico. This week, our guest is Rocky Dawuni, a singer-songwriter from Ghana. Dawuni's 2015 album, Branches of the Same Tree, received a Grammy nomination for Reggae Album of the Year. He is the first Ghanaian to be nominated for a Grammy, and only the second person from the continent of Africa to be nominated in the reggae category. While his roots are in the African style of High Life and Afro-Beat, Dawuni's music pulls from many styles, and his videos are epic cinematic events. And we feature two in this episode. Stay tuned for an awesome interview. Good morning. Cali High is blessed to be here today with Rocky Dawuni, Ghanaian reggae artist and Grammy-nominated songwriter for the 2015 album Branches of the Same Tree. Rocky, welcome.
Thank you very much. It is an honor to be here and join you in this beautiful, nice, cool place.
It's a beautiful day, and Thank you for coming down to the backyard. So, why don't you tell our listeners a little bit about where you grew up?
I grew up in Ghana. Ghana is situated in the west coast of Africa, a country of, a little over 30 million people. Mm-hmm. Ghana was also the first African country to be independent. So Ghana has always been, at the forefront of many amazing innovations and advancement on the continent, and we like to call it the gateway to Africa. And I was born on a military barracks at that time, so my father was part of the Ghanaian army, and at the same time too, he came from a traditional royal family. So I had a combination of tradition, and at the same time too. Yes, so I grew up, in an environment of tradition, which I was getting from my home, and then also because my father was in the military, discipline, and then at the same time too, it was really at a time when the Ghanaian military was in political power. So I also grew up in an environment that was politically charged, and all of those elements became a way of seeding who I became, and I became, somebody who loved music, somebody who loved politics, somebody who loved engaging the world, and at the same time, somebody who is proud of the cultural background and foundations that I grew up from.
Mm-hmm. And was that near Accra?
I actually...
which is the capital, right, for our listeners that might not know?
The capital of Ghana is Accra. And then where I grew up is Tema. Tema is actually part of Accra. So
it looked like the Malibu of Accra from the map. I was looking at Ghana last night.
Yeah. Tema was like a place. Tema has the port. But the barracks was a little far from where the port was, and first they call it the First Infantry Brigade. So it was, it was a very strategic military base for the Ghanaian military. And growing up there was, it was kind of a very sheltered environment, but at the same time too, it was a place that I felt provided me the opportunity to, grow and be able to learn certain things that have become very key to who I become, like it's the sense of discipline, the sense of constantly wanting to strive and achieve, and then also a drive that became key part of really my musical journey, starting from Ghana and building my base in Ghana, and then expanding my musical reach to beyond the confines of Ghana.
And speaking of your musical background, who were your earliest musical influences?
Well, the thing was that there was the traditional music. So everybody that grows up in Ghana or any part of Africa, you are first exposed to your cultural music because, our traditions and culture are very, very deep, and we all come from different tribes. So my tribal music was something that I was exposed to earlier on. But then at the same time too, I was also exposed to the music of other tribes. Living in Tema. Tema was an area that was the traditional area of Gans. The tribe there was called the Gans. So Gan music was very prominent. You heard it around. And then at the same time too, other traditional Ghanaian musical forms were there. So those were the initial musical foundation. And then there was also high life music, which was kind of Ghana's version of the pop music. So my initial heroes were the high life, heroes of those days. So African Brothers was one of the first bands that I kind of gravitated towards. And African Brothers, their high life variant too, was the foundation of that style that became popular all over West Africa, and also was the musical form that eventually evolved into Afro-Beat and all these other styles that most people right now are hearing and are used to. So from then onwards, then I became exposed to reggae music.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you, can you tell us when you first heard reggae and Bob Marley? So yeah.
Yes. Well, what happened was that, to give more of a broader background, was that reggae music, Ghana has an ancestral connection to Jamaica.
Right.
And also because of Ghana's Pan-African history, our first president, Kwame Nkrumah, was he studied here in the United States. So he came back to Ghana. Ghana became the first African country to be independent. So his whole idea immediately was connecting Ghana to the diaspora. The first president of Ghana, Kwame Nkrumah, he was actually named the African of the Millennium. He led Ghana to its independence, Ghana being the first country in Africa to be independent.
In what year?
1957.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And when he became president, his initial idea was connecting Africa to the diaspora because he lived in America. He was influenced by, their Pan-Africanist movement that was going on here, W.E.B. Du Bois, Marcus Garvey, all of those. So he wanted to create a model African country. A lot of Jamaicans came from that geographic area because obviously in those days we didn't have those, it wasn't, ordered into different countries. That was a colonial thing that was created. But most Jamaicans came from tribes that were situated in that area. So
not Ethiopia, you think?
No, not in Ethiopia. It was mostly West Africa. West Africa, yeah. And so there was that, I felt that there was like that connection, that innate understanding, the DNA of the music also could be comprehended there. So reggae kind of took root there. And also the messages that reggae was, kind of projecting were about elevation of African ideals, African culture, blackness, empowerment of Africa. And I think that because the Ghanaian military seeing themselves too as liberators of the continent, the music took root there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, in the barracks, you heard a lot of reggae music, and Peter Tosh, Burning Spear, those early forefathers of the sound were very, very popular there. So obviously Bob Marley was a very, undeniable presence there. And for me, I was not fully, I was into other music. I was not kind of aware of Bob Marley. I'd heard I've heard of his name and all of that, but I was not really a big reggae fan at that time. What changed it was that there was a military band that used to do cover songs, so I had kind of figured out that music was something that I wanted to do. So I gravitated towards anywhere that I could find music being played or anything. So I ended up starting to spend time in the rehearsal space of the military band. So when the album Uprising came out, Bob Marley's album, they were rehearsing the album to play the album. And the song that I remember, I went there and then they were trying to learn Coming In From the Cold. So
Coming in
from the cold, you know.
Yeah.
And I remember I was just like, wow, that's a really cool song. I wonder who sang it. You know, because
It is a cool song.
I had not heard the song, but I heard the band rehearsing it. So, you know, the guy, you know, they would start, you know, and then the bass line and then how the song started, you know,
Yeah.
just like, this is brilliant.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, so afterwards I was like, wow, that's Bob Marley, you know? And so that led me into, you know, the music. And not long afterwards, you know, Bob passed on,
Yeah.
you know, and
81.
81, yeah. So it was like something that, you know, really resonated with me. And I was an artist trying to also find my voice, and coming from the military barracks and believing in also using my music as a means to project social issues, political issues, and also empowering you know, my people, and also using that as a cultural conversation with the world. Reggae made sense as kind of a music that I gravitated, and obviously Bob Marley's voice. But in addition to artists like Fela Kuti,
Right.
who were also very popular at that time. And so the Soldiers had kind of a love-hate relationship with Fela Kuti's music because he sang against the Nigerian army. But the Ghanaian army loved him, you know. And so you hear songs like Zombie, that Nigerian army, it was against Nigerian army, but the Ghanaian army was like, we're not Nigerian army.
I was wondering who that was about.
You know, so
like
you know,
water gets no enemy.
Yeah, water gets no enemy.
That's pretty
But then there was
straightforward.
also, you know, like a derogatory term that people used to call the soldiers were zombie. You know, you know, and soldiers hated that name. You know, because
interesting.
You know, so those styles, you know, so Fela and Bob Marley, I would say, were the popular ones that inspired me.
Well, I can see both of their influences in your music.
Yes, you know, but underneath it was like also the traditional music, the cultural music, and then the high life music of Ghana.
And was reggae always legal to play in Ghana?
Oh yeah, reggae music was very popular.
Because I know that like Lucky Dube in South Africa had to wait until like it became legal, I think, at some point.
Well, South Africa still was under apartheid and all of that. So a lot of things that kind of really ignited the consciousness of the people was, you know, not was prohibited because they were fighting against not only physically restricting the people's progress, but they're also fighting the people's mindset. And reggae kind of ignited and opened the mindset of people.
Yeah, they were afraid of that.
They were afraid of that.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Alrighty then. So, did you know a group named Osibisa?
Oh yes. You know, Osibisa was like traditional heroes of Ghana. You know, because they were the traditional heroes of Africa, because they were actually the first African band to take African music and kind of bring it into the mainstream of you know, global music. You know, so they were from Ghana. You know, so the group started from Ghana, and then eventually a lot of the members became some of my mentors. You know, so, you know, Teddy Osei and Mark Tonto became very close friends who supported me actually in the early parts of my music. And they are, you know, they took high life music and also integrated it with Western sounds and created a fun, I mean, they were amazing live, you know. They brought like also the cultural aspect of Ghanaian music too, and presented it in a way that could be comprehended by audiences beyond Africa, you know. So Osibisa is a very, you know, they're heroes of Ghanaian music.
Now, didn't one of their members move to Venice, Lofty Assisi Amau? Do you know that guy?
No.
Okay.
No.
All right. Never mind. Moving on. So when did you actually start playing music and writing songs?
Writing started way earlier, you know, because I remember being a little kid, from around the age of 5 years, I recognized that ability.
Yeah.
And so I started making up songs. I will hear something and I'll make it up, and I will hear melodies, I'll gravitate towards the melody and start really analyzing them. So when people ask me about songwriting, I say it was there. I felt that it was always part of me. Like I was born with that already in me.
Right.
And then at 5, I started recognizing it.
Yeah.
And then
5.
Yeah, around the age of 5. And then by 7 years, I was making up my own songs, but they were never things that I realized that I was gonna do it professionally.
Yeah.
But I was making them up, and professionally, I'll say by the time I got to, let me say, 12 years, that is when I sat for my common entrance exam to secondary school in Ghana. By the time I got to secondary school, I was already singing stuff that were original stuff, but I was doing it without telling people that I was the one that composed them. So what I would do is that I was kind of the noisiest kid around, and I'll hold little parties, people will be playing on this, and then I'll sing popular songs and stuff and add it to it. So I always created that environment wherever I was, and then that was kind of part of nurturing my songwriting.
Yeah.
But I remember when I got to secondary school, which is probably the college equivalent here, that was when I started seriously putting structure to.
And so then you were writing in secondary school?
In secondary school. But the way the writing was because, because we never had, it was hard to have access to guitars and instruments because those were expensive.
Yeah.
So your father would never, and he's like, you want to be a musician? No, you go to school.
Yeah.
So that was kind of how things were. So the musicians were seen as, those people, they just follow women and smoke a lot and drink a lot, and they're like wayward people and all of, that was kind of like prevailing mindset, so.
Life of a musician.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So being a musician was not something that, you go out and say that's a career choice. It's a path that you got to believe in it and you got to make everybody accept it.
Absolutely.
So the kind of style of music was what I figured out here you call beatboxing. So we started by, you create the song, and also I could hear the instruments in my head. So then I had a few friends who were also taken in by what I would do. So I will have one hum the bass line, one play the drum, and then we would just make up the songs like that.
Yeah.
So that was kind of how we started creating structure to what was in our mind and started writing songs because we didn't have instruments.
Yeah.
So my first even albums that eventually I did, that was kind of the style that I eventually evolved into my first demo. I remember when I was doing the demo, a friend had 2 tape recorders, and then another friend had like a nice cassette.
Right, so you bouncing back and forth and mix them
So
down?
I went to her and I was just like, that's your cassette. And she's like, no, don't talk about that, my cassette. I'm not giving it to you. I'm like, I'm trying to do a demo so that I can go and get a producer for my music, So, if you give it to me, I will, pay you back. I don't think I ever paid back, but the first demo was putting the tape in there, recording, having somebody sing, and then me and singing it directly into the tape with somebody humming. And then afterwards, we played that to another cassette, and then we added stuff to it. So that was kind of how we did it, and then created, the first demo for people to hear that, oh, wow, this is a song. Okay, this is how the bass goes and all of that. I think what did for me too was that it allowed me to be able to be develop production instincts that whenever I wrote songs, I could easily go into a studio and then say, okay, this is how the bass goes, this is how the drum goes, this is how that goes. Created that instinct, for me to be able to be a good arranger and also a good producer.
Yeah. Well, your albums now sound very well produced, I must say, and all the musicians are great.
Thank you.
Boom, boom. Boom, boom. Boom, boom. Boom, boom. Forever reason. Boom, boom. Boom, boom. Boom, boom. Forever reason. Boom, boom. Boom, boom. Forever reason.
African thriller, na dance hall ruler.
Oh, yo, 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 everything we gonna do.
African thriller, na dance hall ruler.
Oh, yo, 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 everything we gonna do.
This be musical campaign, we go hit you without pain. Some of you go they complain, but they dance hall keep on moving. So my people no go be long before the weak hand go make strong. Now you know say nothing be wrong to move to this tempo all night long. Now liberation music, we go do rock, 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 rock with new foundation. African thriller, na dance all ruler.
Oh, yo, 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 everything we gonna do be hot, hot.
African thriller, na champion ruler.
Oh, yo, 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 everything we gonna do be hot, hot.
Now you know I get the moves to supply you with the groove. Now the rhythm go control conscious rocking dance or party. So my people gather around, feel this excitement from head to toe. Everybody open your eyes, now this be time where we fall do so. Now this sweet sensation, feel the rush, 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 vibration.
Shake it till you go to be hot, hot. Mama, shake it till you go to be hot, hot. Mama, shake it till you go to be hot, hot. Mama, shake it till you go to be hot, hot. Mama, shake it till you go to be hot, hot. Mama, shake it till you go to be hot. Mama, shake it till you go to be hot, hot.
African thriller, na dance hall ruler.
Oh, yo, 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 everything we gon' do be hot, hot.
African thriller, na champion ruler.
Oh, yo, 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 everything we gon' do be hot, hot.
African Thriller,
Yes.
from your Grammy-nominated 2015 album, Branches of the Same Tree,
Yeah.
is like an anthemic dancehall tune.
Yes,
right?
yes.
And the video is a visual experience, it's a cinematic experience, like so many of your other videos.
Yes,
Can we
yes.
talk about making that video and your videos in general?
Oh, wow, yeah. You know, when I came to spend time in America, you know, lived here and started seeing, I mean, everybody's impressed with what artists like Michael Jackson did with videos. You know, videos became a means by which you could tell a new story beyond what the music is. You know, so you use that to expand on the concept of what
Exactly.
the art, the music is. So personally too, I kind of gravitated towards that idea that, you know, whenever you were doing a music video, the song was the starting point.
Yeah.
And if you have a great director too who has a great vision, they could also help to really push.
Oh, yeah.
You know? So for African Thriller, you know, a very close friend of mine, you know, Glenn Wilson, he was actually an amazing photographer. So he's done a lot of my photography. He's also directed a previous video that was called African Reggae Fever. That was also kind of very well shot. It was shot like in Venice and all of that. Beautiful
I saw that.
video.
You're walking down the street.
Yeah,
and then
walking down the street.
Somebody's playing the guitar. This girl's playing the guitar.
Exactly, and then people doing loops and all of that.
Yeah.
It's beautiful,
And
well
then guy on a
produced,
bike.
you know. And he was, you know, his visual, that he was very specific because he was a photographer too. He knew how, you know, how to frame things and also get deeper into the texture of the images.
Yeah, well, that's a great video, I gotta say. And you know, it was made in 2015.
Yeah.
And then after I saw the video, I had to go back and check to see when Black Panther was made, because it's maybe some, you know, reoccurring African costumes on some of the women. However, you know, it just probably, I wonder if
he visually too, because the song was called African Thriller, you know, so because called African Thriller, you know, we're thinking, okay, Michael Jackson, we were thinking Thriller in Manila, you know, that's boxing. You know, so it was paying homage to also African and African American creatives who have excelled, from Muhammad Ali to Michael Jackson, and at the same time to Africa, where the big boxing match between Foreman and Muhammad Ali happened in Zaire. You know, with all, you know, it was James Brown was there, so it was a combination of music and also boxing. And then at the same time using that to create a conversation piece between the diaspora and also the motherland in a way that is fun, is inclusive, and using dance as a metaphor
it's beautiful.
of boxing. So you step in the ring, but you're not going there to go and fight. You're going there to showcase how, you know, your dance, your moves. You know, so philosophically, it was a great concept, and then we just knew that, you know, with Glenn, you know, he could, you know, so he needed a space, and I remember we filmed it in a boxing ring in Pokoima. You know, he brought some of the, I mean,
you would think it was filmed in Africa.
In Africa,
right?
You know, and that's the magic of you know, film. You know, and he brought, and we got, you know, amazing choreographers. You know, I mean, the lady who choreographed, you know, the video right now.
The moves, the dance moves
now
in the ring.
choreographs for a lot of big stuff, you know. And so we had some of the best talent, you know, and friends. You know, it was a kind of a family affair, and obviously my manager Kerry Sullivan was also very involved in kind of really putting all of that together and making it all happen. So it was filled with spirit. It was filled with a sense of truth. It was also filmed with vision, paying homage at the same time to reaching out into the future. And I think that is what, and then the song itself too kind of was that. It was a combination of African traditional music, dance hall, Afro-beat, and you know, and also paid homage to, like, you know, as a human living being, you got to move. Movement is life. and that is all depicted in that video.
It kind of has a little Fela Kuti in that song.
Yes, yes. Yeah. That's the Afrobeat aspect of Fela Kuti. And then Fela Kuti comes from High Life and all of that. So as an African, a lot of times, most people know that Fela Kuti will experience High Life and all that through Afrobeat, but I experience from where the same wellsprings that Fela also experienced from. No, it's all good. Yeah,
and then my reference points.
Yes.
So, in your new video, Beautiful People, which is on your latest album, Voices of Boon Boon? Boon Boon.
Yes,
Volume 1.
Yeah.
It's dedicated to the people of Ghana?
Yes.
And is that village where it was filmed special to you?
Yes.
That's not Pacoima.
Yeah. That's very far from Pacoima.
Yeah.
That is my ancestral village.
Yeah.
That is where the village was founded by my grandfather.
Uh-huh.
And it's one of the big thriving villages, and my family has been the royal family of that. So my family has been the chiefs. My father was the chief, and then now my older brother is the chief there. And the idea of Beautiful People too was to find the beauty in everyday life and people.
Yeah. Well, it's a beautiful video.
Everybody has beauty in them, and I feel that a lot of times we try to look for the beauty outside, and also in terms of outward things that are not real. You know, so I felt that I needed to use that video to show that everybody should appreciate their origins, should appreciate where they come from.
Absolutely.
Should appreciate the people who make them who they are, the community that to some extent gave birth to who they are.
Yeah.
So the video, I went back to find the beauty in the community, to find the beauty in the everyday things that people were doing, the look of the people, the feel of the place.
Great look, great feel. People really
great feel, and then the song too, great spirit, and in doing so too, inspire other people to go to your origins. Honor where you come from, honor who you are, because that is who you are. So it was a song that, in telling my story, I felt that it allowed people to tell their own stories.
Well, it's a great song, great video too.
Thank you.
I dedicate this song to you, my beautiful people. My beautiful people, come and sing along, Here I got a song for you, my beautiful people. My beautiful people, come and sing along, There are many things we cannot hide. There are many bonds that can be undone, just like our bond. Everything in life is a sacrifice, but I know it was worth the price, for I did it for you. Here I come with a song, oh beautiful people. Oh beautiful people, come and sing along, I dedicate this song to you, my beautiful people. Oh beautiful people, come and sing along, From every corner we'll be blasting, from every corner we'll be blasting, and you know I did it for you. You know that music is a language to free us from every bondage, and you know that
Ken be Adi
Edimewu.
Mewu.
Yeah, Chen
yeah.
Edimewu, yes.
Yeah. Featuring Sarkodie.
Yeah.
Off your 2016 album Beats of Zion.
Yeah.
And he adds a little hip hop to that.
Yes.
I wonder which language of Ghana is this, and briefly, what is the meaning of this?
Okay, so Chen Edimewu is actually a remake of one of my favorite funky high life. So that's the traditional high life style, high life songs, and that's a song too that has become a standard not only for high life lovers within Ghana, but also people who discovered high life in all around the world. You know, so when I was working on Beats of Zion, I had the opportunity of recording in the Village Studios. I was gifted time there, you know, like, oh, come and record in the Village Studios.
How
I was
cool,
like,
bro.
whoa. And then they're like, wow.
Studios?
And you get to use Fleetwood Mac's studio.
Yeah.
I was like, no shit.
All right.
Yeah, all right.
When do I come?
Yeah, when do I come? So I was like, okay, what songs do I... And I was getting ready to start the record, but at that time I was like, what songs should I do? And by then I had been adding Chen Edimewu to my sets.
Yeah.
My live sets. So, you know, to add the high life element to you know, because from the Afro root stuff that I play and then also the reggae stuff, you know, I had like also traditional high life stuff that I had adapted in a much more funky way, you know, so I was like, okay, why not record this song, which is a traditional standard. It's also high life music, and at the same time too, I was like, high life music in Ghana never got the opportunity of being recorded probably in a studio like the Village Studios, which is one of the top studios in the world.
Oh yeah.
So I was like, let me do that. So I went in, you know, organized my band here, and the band too was from all around the world, from Brazil, from Cuba, so traditional high life music from Ghana now being played by a global cast of incredible musicians.
I could tell they, because you know, I have another question about the musicians in that song, but keep going.
Yeah. So we went in there and then recorded the song, you know, and it just came out really beautifully.
Oh yeah.
And then afterwards, I was like, okay, the original had. Original was traditional,
right?
But then there's been remixed by certain hip hop artists in Ghana. Yeah. But I felt that okay, if I am remaking it, then I have to work with, you know, some of the cutting edge, artists, and the language too was Chi, which is the language of the Ashanti tribe in Ghana. So that was the language of the song, and then one of the top rappers in Chi was Sarkodie.
Yeah.
So I called up Sarkodie and said, hey, you know, I'm doing a remake of Chen Edimewu and all of that, and I feel that, you know, you should be on it. And he's like, send it to me, let me hear it. And he heard it, he's like, wow, this sounds good, like very well recorded, and like, you know, it sounded, you know, really amazing, you know. So he also added his bit to it, and it became
sounds great.
Yeah, it became that beautiful. You know, I feel that we really did a great homage to that song, and etched another high life masterpiece, refreshed it for a new audience.
Yeah, well, I certainly like listening to it, that's for sure. And my question was, where did the horn section come from?
Oh, the horn section, yeah, that horn section. So the horn section is
it seemed like it was almost Afro-Cuban.
Yes, because the trumpeter is from Cuba.
Right.
The trombonist is from Brazil. And then the saxophonist is African American.
Oh wow.
So it was not a Ghanaian cast. This was like the diasporian cast. And different dimensions of the diaspora that played the horn. So so you know, like sinking deep into the song, there's so many different elements that kind of gave it such, you know, deep spiritual and cultural significance, because it was a song that was, its inception was from Ghana, but then that remake also took into consideration all the diaspora sounds and styles,
and bringing it back,
and bringing it right back.
That is amazing. How many albums have you released so far, Rocky?
7 albums and then an EP. So the EP Voice of Bumbo was the EP that just was released actually that I've been working on. That has beautiful people and
Yeah. And there's a volume 2 coming up.
Volume 2 is gonna come up, but it's not necessarily gonna follow.
Yeah.
It's probably the next one will probably be an album.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
You also work for humanitarian and environmental organizations. Which ones and what do you do?
Well, from shall I say, growing up.
Yeah.
And also growing up in talking about my military, growing up in a military barracks that was politicized. We were constantly exposed to issues that required attention because the Ghanaian military was in power then. So they were dealing with national issues. So wherever I walked, wherever I found a bunch of soldiers gathered and, after work and they were chatting, the conversations were always about development. They were about how to make the country better. So those conversations, I was privy to all of that.
Yeah.
So at an early age, I was trying to figure out how I could also make a difference. And at the same time, too, most of the Ghanaian soldiers, too, were part of the UN peacekeeping force. Because when I was a little kid, there was the Arab-Israeli peace issue that was going on in the Middle East. So
6-Day War? Or was that after that, maybe?
Yeah, I think more. I don't know whether it's a Yom Kippur one.
Yeah.
But most of the soldiers were kind of stabilizing force that were sent to Egypt, part of the UN force, to go there and be in between all the feuding countries, to try and maintain stability there. So whenever they came, they were talking about all these divisions and how they could be. So there was like, I was sponging all of this, the United Nations, local politics, trying to make a change. At the same time too, the influences that all these soldiers who were exposed to that part of the world were bringing right back home. They were not bringing it to Ghana, they were bringing it right into the confines of the military barracks. So we lived in a very tight place. So it started building that need in me to be a voice for social transformation. To utilize whatever gifts that I felt God had given me to help society advance, and also to speak truth to power, and at the same time to use it as a means to empower people. But I also felt that it's one thing writing about it, it's one thing talking about it, it's one thing sitting on the stage and writing lyrics about it. You can only make some of those changes if you're able to translate what you're saying into reality by being on the ground.
Action. So we're back with Rocky Dawuni. Rocky,
Yes.
Thanks for putting up with our technical difficulties here. So how is Accra the capital of Ghana? I mean, what is it like, and how is the government nowadays?
Accra right now, just like every teeming urban capital, it's a lot of traffic, a lot of congestion.
Yep.
And dealing with issues too of trying to maintain when people are moving from different areas of the country into everyday
Coming in the capital. Yeah.
So when it has to do with issues of housing, food, all of those problems are going on, but underneath all of that too, people are going about their lives like everywhere, but since the global crisis happened, what it has done is that it literally killed a lot of the nightlife, which Ghana had been struggling in a way to kind of bring that back, so it really killed that. And then now people are just trying to get their lives back,
Get back to normal.
Get back to a semblance of normality
Yeah.
right now,
Like the rest of the world.
like the rest of the world.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I hate to ask about another city, but you wrote about Nairobi.
Oh, yeah.
That you love Nairobi, and I just wanted to ask you, what do you love about Nairobi? That's in Kenya, right?
Yeah,
Capital Kenya?
actually, that song was a metaphor.
Uh-huh.
So, what happened was that Kenya had a big political issue. I mean, the issue is, is steeped in the history of Kenya, which I'm not going to go deeply into.
Yeah.
But there are two big political factions that have been kind of fighting for power a long time, and then there's been one faction that has been in power for that length. So, and all these factions too revolve around tribes. So one faction is two tribes, another faction is one major tribe with other minor tribes around it. So it's not only political, but it's also steeped in cultural and identity and all of that. So everybody will remember that Kenya had elections, and that election was contested, and then there was like a big, huge problem where people started fighting. The country nearly fell apart, and then the UN, Kofi Annan, and everybody went in there. So it was between Kenyatta and also Raila Odinga. So when that period went through and they kind of got to a point of understanding and agreement, and they were just about to do another elections after a few years of stabilizing the situation, in which the International Court of Justice were all involved in, and Kenyatta was actually, at first, he was going to be charged in the, with crimes against his people and all of that. But eventually, all of that was resolved, and they decided to do an election. So I was invited to Kenya at that time as part of a peace initiative with the Red Cross of Kenya to come and work with musicians and all of that as part of the peace building, and also trying to, create a peaceful foundation for that election that was just about to happen. So I traveled in, with the Red Cross, we went into areas like Kibera, to meetings with various musicians, various groups, promoting peace, promoting intertribal, connection, and then also an ideal of a united Kenya, an ideal of a united people. And whilst I was going through all of this, I felt that there was such a deep rift between the people that was not political, but was cultural and tribal.
Yeah.
To a point that Ghana's was not even, Ghana's division when it comes to the tribes and culture was not even that deep, but Kenya's was deep. So I was like, what can I, as a musician and as somebody who's here as part of, getting a snapshot into this issue, what can I do to help the healing process? So I was like, wow, it has to be a song. But I didn't want a song too that was like obvious, like, hey, you guys come together.
It's apolitical.
It's apolitical.
Yeah.
So it's like, what does all Kenyans like? What do they all agree on that we're not going to fight about? And, people, and I felt like, wow, Nairobi, actually, everybody was proud of their capital.
Yeah.
Every Kenyan, regardless of whether the person was Luo, Kalenjin, or, any other tribe, they were proud of Nairobi, and like, Nairobi, everybody was like, Nairobi is like one of the most beautiful, capitals in Africa and all of that. There was a certain pride to it. So I was like, okay, maybe what I needed to do was write a song about something that unites everybody, and then use that as a premise to speak about harmony and unity.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. It's a great song.
Yeah, so the song Nairobi was kind of birthed out of that intention and objective. Yeah.
Because I just had to wonder, because you did keep the politics out of that. here we are at Cali High, and so I feel I have to ask you: Is herb legal in Ghana?
Herb is not legal in Ghana. In many African countries, have, because African countries inherited a lot of their constitution and a lot of their judiciary from the colonial powers that were there. So herb was also something that all around. Herb and hemp were banned in most of those places, and that was also replicated in these places.
Right.
And to some extent, it also wrapped around in people thinking that herb causes craziness. It was like everybody said that most of the mad people in the street, they will always say, oh, they are all weed smokers, So there was kind of a false narrative that I think has kind of its roots from here that was also perpetuated all over there. So it was something that was seen as stereotype and stigma. It was something that was seen as deviant, and also that it was also people, it causes illness. It was terrible for the community and the society. So everybody was against it, and but the musicians, it was popular within the musicians and the creative community. That's why everybody was like, oh, you want to be a musician? Those people, they just smoke weed and all of that kind of stuff. Nobody wanted their daughters to marry a musician because they're not stable people.
Stoners.
Stoners, they didn't never
Folks,
get in.
if you don't want your daughters to be stoners,
exactly,
you don't have them marry a musician.
So most African countries were very adamant, and then it got also one way or another got wrapped into the religious establishment. So the religious establishment also constantly is preaching against, people who
conservative.
They want to say that people who, anytime they're talking about people who didn't make it in life, they're like, they ended up being a weed smoker, they ended up being this, drinking and smoking weed. It was seen as people who never were able to make it into, the society, and fell off. It was always blamed on that. So that stigma has survived up till now. Although, when you look critically, there's a lot of people who are beyond that stigma, artists and even people in, government places and all
attitudes will change, right?
But now it's changing. It's changing because other parts of the world are doing so.
Exactly.
And then most of these economies too are seeing the numbers from other economies that are, but the political will is still lacking from most of the leaders because they feel that if you legalize it, first of all, you're going to lose your base because it's a conservative base. So you're going to lose that. So most of them are walking, kind of a fine line between it. But there are some countries that are decriminalizing the farming of it, but they are not legalizing
I hear you.
the use of it. You know. And then recently in Ghana too. It's amazing that I'm doing this interview right now because just about a week ago, the Ghanaian government also came out and said that they are just on the verge of allowing the farming of hemp with 0.3% THC. We feel that it is it's a major step because obviously if they feel a certain concern about legalizing it and then all of a sudden everybody's walking around the streets smoking, which was actually to even diverge to a funny situation was that the first time it was announced that the government was thinking about doing that, the following day, social media, people were putting things of lighting on there and all of that. And I was just like, hey guys,
a little bit too soon.
Yeah, a little bit too soon because that's not what these guys are talking about. And you're actually exposing the greatest fear, of everybody walking around and lighting it up, and smoking in the streets and all of just relax and allow them the space to be able to, move this along.
In their own pace of some kind.
Yeah. But it's something that it is. I think it's ridiculous that most of these countries are not seeing it as a means by which they could deal with their debt issues. They could
There's a lot of benefits.
Economy, money, one thing, and at the same time too the health benefits of it.
Exactly.
CBD, the nutrition from the seeds, the fiber from hemp, and all of that. These are all things that can be transformative for economies.
Yeah.
So
I make my clothes out of all the stems and seeds from my previous seasons.
Oh, wow.
Not really. Sorry. It would be nice, right?
But
clothes?
That's hemp material and hemp fiber and hemp. It's incredible. So
it's
I feel that if that is what we're comfortable with, it also has transformative benefits, and we should take a step there, and then eventually, all the others, will come along. Yeah.
Okay. You have an amazing band. Are they always the same people, or we talked about that a little bit?
Yes. The thing is that it's very hard these days to keep a standing band. Unless the economics of the the industry does not allow most of the time, especially when you're operating from major cities. Let's say I'm operating from Los Angeles, or I'm operating from Accra, Ghana. To hold together a band, you need so a lot of times.
You also need to be touring.
Yeah, you also need to be touring. And then the touring dates too. So you maintain a group of people that you work with that are your band. But at the same time too, most of them also work with other bands.
Great musicians.
Great musicians, great musicians. To work with musicians on that level, it's they're also equally, in demand in everywhere, and you have to come to terms with that. But I have a solid band here in the United States, and then also a solid band in Ghana that I work with.
And so, plans for touring now that things are opening up?
Yes, we are hoping so. But the thing is that things are opening up, but they're not. The touring world is not necessarily like in America. Looks like things are opening up much more faster than in Europe. There's really not much going on in Europe. I mean, basically our, touring and booking agencies over there have said that literally just forget the year, because nothing is really going to happen. And then from the news too, we are seeing that Europe is even getting, things are even shutting down more. Instead of opening up, So for me, I am seeing that music and artistry and all that we do, has to evolve. There is a saying that it's actually in Ashanti, in Tree proverb, that say, when the hunter learns to shoot without missing, the birds will have to learn to fly without perching. That means that whenever you're given any situation, you have to make the adjustment and elevate above it. So I think that musicians have to now start being innovative in terms of where they are and where they are situated and where is their natural places to be able to project globally too. And there's a lot of tools right now to help that, but it has not become the norm. But with what is going on, we have to work very fast to really,
put a platform out there. That's virtual. And it also makes some money.
Exactly. Virtual and interactive at the same time. And I feel that is where people will have to push themselves too, so that regardless of whatever it is, you're not limited by geography, because it's becoming very hard to navigate across borders and geography, because people are becoming more divided around the world, as we've seen. nations are looking more inwards. Everybody, even political stability is becoming a big question around the world.
Yeah.
So all of these things impact the ability of musicians to travel and be able to showcase their artistry. So we are the mercy of all these elements. And I think that we also need to now start seeing things that the innovation does not necessarily come from other people doing it. We need to innovate how we still are going to reach the people.
Yeah. How many albums do you have?
I have 7 albums and then 1 EP.
Yeah.
And then
the new one.
Yeah, the new one,
Yeah.
Voice of Bombo, is the current EP that's out right now.
And Branches of the Same Tree was nominated for a Grammy for Reggae Album of the Year?
Yes, Reggae
that's
Album of the
wild.
Year. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like I think either the first or the second African to be nominated in that category.
Yeah. That's an honor.
And then also the first of my country to be nominated for a Grammy.
Ah.
So that nomination for me was, people like to use the word historic for it, but I also saw it as a combination of, when you're evolving a new sound, was that the Afro-root sound finally was able to grab the ears of people as to what innovation that sound had brought to contemporary reggae music, and at the same time too brought to contemporary high life and Afrobeat music, because what I did was fuse these two sounds in a way that could be accessible and also could speak in a way that everybody from every culture could access it. And I think that the Grammy nomination was an eventual validation of this sound that I have constantly championed. And it is, now every, all the Ghanaian, artists, everybody's striving to win a Grammy. So I'm just like, good. I lighted a big fire out there. So you say it's a big inspiration.
I'm sorry you didn't win that one.
It's
Who
all
did
good.
win that one?
It was Morgan Heritage. Yeah, Morgan Heritage won.
Yeah.
That year.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting. And congratulations for being the first Ghanaian to be nominated for a Grammy, bro.
Thank you very much.
And may you get a Grammy
Thank you very
on your
much.
next album.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So, Cali High has been blessed to be here with Rocky Dawuni today. Rocky, thanks for coming down, and we really appreciate interviewing you here. And, forever and ever, you will always be the king of Wakanda in my eyes.
Oh, thank you very much. And then also, the thing is that California is also a home for me. Apart from being in Ghana, I've spent a lot of time here. So, I feel also like a native of California. As they say, you sometimes you recognize that you don't belong to one place, you belong to many places, and this place for me too is a place that I'm proud to call home to. So
maybe we can get some gigs around here before the rest of the world opens up, and then
yes
we'll be partying.
Exactly.
All right.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, God bless you.
All right.
All right.
Rocky Dawuni. Yeah. Ready to be born ready.
way, Maraminio. Akwebi di mpabweti amyo. No nim so ni keshebi akwa nimyo. Akwebi di mpabweti amyo. No nim so ni keshebi akwa nimyo. Chenche die di me uo. Ah, chenche die di me uo. Ajay. Chenche die di me uo. Chenche die di me uo. Chenche die di me uo. Oh, ah. Chenche die di me uo. Ajay. Oh, ah. Chenche die di me uo. What else? Open the pump it. Medisika pechi akutuba tabone. Obi de share da ben obi bedo me. Betu na mo afifia ba bedu obi maso. Obi tia me na so se da chi bibia bebo me. Akata ni ba bi na etete makoma o. Nsa hye nenum okamia na me fa he. Na madwene se bibi se ntome da o. Bibia me fi mini bi kura na me di he. Obi se bedofo. Adwo sa chibia. Forget bibia. Me hia mu sesia. Chenchem ye di me wu masete na ye nimia. Se me hwe bedofo wo fie dia ma ye wusia. Ohia se nti ye dem abeda ne akwa. Betu me fo na manfa besi de no bi aboa. Anka me ne me dofo ne ti o na me ko pe bibia be fie ne me ne na ma chechira so afa me bo ne che me nyi me nia. Mini waro. Anka mini waro mi dofo e. Me doma me dofo. Yanyina ye ti odomu na me si miracle baby maba. And I'm saying me sikenti obi abeji mi dofo e fi same oh. Odobeni na ye huanu yo adofwe. Akwebi di mpabweti amyo.